Buckland.
Here.
Michelle Kaiser.
Here.
Dave Clifford.
Here.
Mike Ensberg.
Here.
Patty Kuniski is not here tonight. Karen Novak.
Here.
John Gerber.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Exits are to the left and right. And behind us, review and approval of board agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented and or amended? Motion please. Aaron, second. John. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Annual organized meeting minutes, July 11th, 2022. A motion to accept the minutes of the annual organizational meeting held on July 11th, 2022 as presented. Motion please. Mike, second. John, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Business meeting minutes, July 11th. A motion to accept the minutes of the business meeting held on July 11th, 2022 as presented. Motion please. Dave, second. Mike, any discussion? In favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Special business meeting minutes, July 20, 2022. A motion to accept the minutes for the July 28th, 2022 special business meeting as presented. Motion please. Aaron, second. Mike, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Reports and presentations.
Good evening. Superintendent's report. First, I want to call up Assistant Superintendent Anne LaRoe. She is going to present information on the projected tax levy. We do not have the absolute final numbers back from Warwick yet, so we will need to have a board meeting next week to approve it, but we have the preliminary numbers ready, and I wanted to do that at a regular business meeting so that the full community and board had all of the information.
So this year, we have some good news. The board is able to keep that promise of a 1.5% tax rate increase. We have an anomaly with the assessment value. We have a decrease in assessment value. We've only had two others, and that was when we established the veterans exemption and the senior citizen exemption. So this is a rare anomaly, and it's caused by the special franchise properties, which are utilities. So the state reassessed them, and that's what brought our assessment growth down. They actually, that reduction was about $450,000. So we have a reduction of $262,000. So we actually had real property growth if it wasn't for that adjustment. So to keep pace with the 1.5% rate increase, we had to reduce the expectation of our tax levy by $43,050, which we're comfortable reassigning to interest earnings. Interest rates have been up, and we feel confident we'll be able to make that $43,000 up in interest earnings.
Ms. Thoreau, can you just talk for a minute about if that interest earning does not meet that expectation, where that money would come from?
Then we would pull it from fund balance. So the fund balance allocation would go up. So keeping with the projections from budget season, with a 1.5% rate increase, there's an increase of $2.43 on every $10,000 for a total of $24.35 for a total estimated tax of $1,641. Now, we always look at the homes at $30,000. So with the increase in, of the 1.5, taxes go up $72.75.
And the reason we always look at the 30 is because that is the average assessed home value in Greenwood Lake.
So also this year, we had equalization rates went down, and property values have an inverse reaction to the equalization rate. So this year, a $30,000 home is assessed at $276,000. Well, last year it was assessed at $240,000. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Market value. Market value works inversely to the equalization rate. So the market value on a $30,000 home is $276,000 this year. Where last year the home was worth $240,000 for a $36,000 increase in market value.
We talked during budget season about the difference between assessed value versus market value. Are there any questions?
Something.
Okay. All right, so next week, we will need to do the board approval. Once we have the absolute final numbers in, and if there are any changes to what we have here, we will make sure we present those to you. Yes. But we will keep the 1.5%. We will not exceed that.
Correct.
Here.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ann.
She's going to stay up at the podium because Ms. Thoreau is now going to speak about the BOCES capital project authorization.
So, BOCES was in on July 28th to talk to us about the capital project, and they want to make upgrades and improvements to the Gibson Road campus, the Career Tech buildings, also the Arden Hill campus. They want to put in some additional classrooms and a new gymnasium and really tear down and rebuild Building 1. They want to do renovations to secure vestibules and main offices, roof replacements, windows replacements, doors and glazing, HVAC upgrades, electrical. They want to do well water system, sanitary system replacement, and driveways and parking lots. This is an example of some of the samples of the work that they would like to do. The blue are new additions and the purple are renovations. And you can see there on the bottom of the Axelrod Special Education, they want to put in a vestibule, a security vestibule in both buildings. And then this is the new gymnasium and the revamping Building 1 there on the lower right. And assorted other renovations to fully use the Arden Hill campus. BOCES board approved the capital project on August 11th, and now the district's boards have to approve a community vote for October 22. I think it's October 18th. So why now for this project? Well, the last significant Gibson Road infrastructure upgrade was 34 years ago. And they just purchased Arden Hill and they want to complete the total renovation of the building. The cost of the project is $159 million. And the cost would be distributed among the 17 component districts as per our AWADA, which is the resident weighted average daily attendance. So the estimated share for Greenwood Lake is $2.7 million.
Our award, our WADA includes our high school students. So that's why our number is inflated compared to what we talked about when we talked about our K-8 student population.
So there are two forms of funding this project. There's the DASNY option, which BOCES does all the work, and then there's the district decision option, which BOCES prefers. In the DASNY option, all the residents of BOCES would vote. If they approved the vote, BOCES would adopt a bond resolution. BOCES would go out and get funding for the project, and then the component districts would pay BOCES an annual principal and interest payment. Under the district option, BOCES would approve the capital project on the 11th. Component districts call for a vote to participate in an intermunicipal joint agreement agreeing to independently finance their portion, our portion, 2.7 million, of the project. If approved unanimously by all the component districts, then residents will vote. If that's approved, then each component district determines their own method of financing. There are three methods: cash, issue short-term or long-term bonds. If the district decides to bond the project, then the district would issue a bond resolution to finance their portion of the debt.
Are there any questions about the two options for funding?
So Greenwood Lake's share is 2.7 million. BOCES would like payment of 1.3 million on July 15th of 2023. On July 15th, 2024, 1.1 million, and then the final payment on July 15th, 2025. So the all-cash item is the least expensive item because you do not have to pay any interest. So there's no borrowing, there's the three payments, and then building aid is received the following year. The short-term financing, Greenwood Lake would issue 3 bond anticipation notes for each one of the payments on 2023, 2024, and 2025. Building aid, again, would be received the following school year. Long-term financing, Greenwood Lake would issue 2 anticipation notes for the first 2 payments and then bond the entire total for 18 to 30 years. So the all-cash item, pay the 3 payments straight out, would equal $1,699,000.
That's after the reimbursement of the building aid following year. So our portion is still the 2.7.
Yes.
So we get the building aid back. The total cost to district is 1.69 million.
The projected cost after building aid on the anticipation notes is 1.7 million. And with an 18-year-old bond, an 18-year bond, the projected cost to the district after building age is 2.6.
So this part is not something we need to decide tonight. That comes after all the districts vote and after whether to move forward with this option. So this is more of a conversation with down the road, but we just want to be upfront and talk about everything now. Mr. Gerber, you have a question?
I do. I just wanted to make sure that in order for this to be approved, and I thought it was on the previous slide, that every school district has to vote yes. Or is it where only a certain percentage do, but then where does the additional funding come from?
So, yes, so right now, all of the districts have to vote yes. If one district votes no, then they have to go to the DASNY option, where it goes to a full vote of every resident that within the OU BOCES boundaries, so it's basically all of Orange County and parts of Ulster County. And then, if that passes, then BOCES bonds it themselves. But right now,
But that includes every single person within that Orange and Ulster, not just the school districts.
correct. So if even one district says no right now, it goes straight to community vote, and then if it passes, they go to DASNY. If all the districts say yes, then it still has to go to a resident vote, but then each district does their own financing.
So the resident vote is scheduled for October 18th. And we have to designate a location. Each district designates one location.
So for us, that would likely be the elementary school, which is where all of our votes take place. We would not want to confuse the public.
And that would normally vote on for that meeting?
Unless we come up with a capital project between now and then. I don't see that happening. We've had enough going on.
I'm just curious, is there a weighted average for, like, the communities that don't have, it doesn't have to be non-historic for all communities, right? As far as not the ways finance, but whether or not it's full.
Or yes, but then no matter what they
Right.
Right.
I'm curious, like some of the communities that might have a low Rwanda but a high population, does it matter? Is it weighted based on their Rwanda?
So the community vote is based on total population of all of Orange County. So it's not district by district. So there's not a Greenwood Lake. If Greenwood Lake has more no votes than yes votes, let's just say, it's not voted down at that point.
Okay.
It's still total yeses over the entire county area versus total no's. The only one that's by district is this current board vote. All right, so that is on the agenda tonight. On not this part yet, right? We're not doing how we're going to pay it. It's just, yes, we're willing to go forward and would like to figure out our own way of thinking.
I just have a follow-up question. Matt, did you actually go to the, when they did the walkthrough, were you able to attend that? That's what I figured. Okay, thank you.
It hasn't been updated since thank you. So you can imagine.
Their rules look like our rules here.
On the last, yeah, I wasn't able to attend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
Just a little update on our summer projects 2022. We have our elementary cafeteria project that is well underway. This was our pre-construction picture that we have. Demo was completed after about 2 weeks. Then they started digging through the concrete. And they also took out the walls, and they found water damage to the walls. And we found multiple slabs underneath the initial slab. There are actually a total of 3 slabs. So had to dig through all of that and do some change orders there. We did put a French drain in that went in that dug down about 24 to 30 to 32 inches, I think they went down total. And then put the French drains in, and they said they backfilled it with rock and then concreted over it. So that French draining is now complete. They roughed in all of the plumbing 2 weeks ago. So that is all in place, and then they refilled that all in with concrete, so that's all done now. You can see everything's a smooth surface. Last week, they began framing and rocking. Rocking is the term that they use for sheetrocking. the area, you'll see that they have the starting area for the booths that are going in, and the bathroom, as well as the custodial closet. More framing and rocking from last week. This is the hallway. They've put some of the new lights in, really brightens up the hallway. It looks really pretty down there. They whitewashed the walls, so it's very bright. And then this is a picture from this morning. The board did do a walkthrough this morning and got to see it in person and the work that's being done. So you'll see the sheetrock is all up. This week they are now working on the floor, so you can see where they actually have started buffing and getting it all set up for the flaking that's going in, the flooring. Then, because there's new areas and new bathrooms and new kitchen, we had to put vents up that go, it is in the basement, so it has to go through the main floor of the building and up to the roof. So they are in the process of doing that, so there's going to be one shaft in the vestibule area. There are 3 shafts in the main office area, and in the nurse's office there is 1 shaft going in. All of those will of course be boxed in and sheetrocked and all nice and pretty by the time school starts. Other facilities projects going on, we have the elementary school playground project. They began digging this week and the equipment is there ready to go in. So we're very excited about that, and they are resealing and repainting the parking lots at the end of August. Then the the middle school roof replacement, we move forward on the engineering for that right away because that is a situation the facilities committee has been working on addressing and been literally plugging holes and fixing leaks for multiple years. So we're in the process of getting that, and you can see the sheer number of measurements and elevation differences that they have up there. So they are almost done with that engineering, and that way we can move forward with getting that work done. It would be our goal to get that work done next summer. And then a couple of months ago, the board did request that I look around and try and find some information regarding school security and being able to do non-invasive daily screenings. So there was talk about metal detectors, what that might look like for students, how might that change the feel of our district, how would we go through backpacks, is there backpacks go through one kid, is it like an airport, or what does that look like? And there was a lot of concern at that time that we didn't want kids to feel like coming to school was a different experience for them, that they had they're not in a jail setting, they don't need to be screened and have their stuff gone through every day. But we do want everyone to feel safe. So I was able to do a lot of research, and I found this technology called Evolve Touchless Security, and it is literally a walk-through security system. And I'll just a very short video that I'll show you so you can learn a little bit about it. Oh, got it. Yeah. So one of the things you can see is they literally just walk straight through. They can have the backpacks on them. They don't have to take anything out of the backpacks. It's literally as fast as this. I did speak with there are 3 and 4. If you Google Evolve Security, you can watch more videos. I was in Florida last week and walked into an area and they actually had an Evolve system, and I got very excited and asked to see their screen, and they got a little defensive about that. But it was great to see it and see how quickly the line moved. People just had to get to the single file, and then we just walked right through, and unless you got stopped, you just kept going on with your business. The approximate cost per device for a single lane system, and that's what this is on the screen that you see is a single lane system, is $20,000 to $25,000 a year, and it's for a 48-month standard contract, so that's 4 years. Or you could pay in advance for the device, which is about $30,000, and then about $15,000 to lease the software per year. In terms of how many devices we would need, We could go to a single entrance here at the middle school very easily, so I think you could get away with one here. You could get two here if you wanted to have that expense, so that you had it for evening events and athletic events, if you wanted to have the other entrance and keep two entrances. It's just then staffing. This does require one staff member to be able to watch the screen, and then another one to approach the person if there is some sort of issue.
Sorry, what are they looking at? Is it a metal detector or is it a scanner?
You can see the people, and the best that I can explain is if you've ever been to the airport and you know how when it shows the picture and most of it's black, but then electronics kind of, and metal shows up a different color on the screen, that's kind of what it looked like to me. That you could see where the cell phone was and where this was, and you could see the outline of things.
So the X-ray?
I am as,
Yeah, it's just something that's concerned some
so I did get information about that. It is less than using a cell phone. I didn't know that. I'm at my last thing, so I can turn this off so they can see. I have an answer to that.
Curious, are they invasive?
They use extremely low frequency radio waves to screen for firearms, knives, and metallic IEDs as visitors pass through at a natural walking pace. The extremely low frequency radio waves used by the solution induce magnetization and currents of metal objects passing through, both of which can be characterized via magnetic polarizability sensors. Using our physical models, the system recovers the data from the magnetic polarizability tensors and extracts features from them, which in turn correlate with physical properties of the object, including volume, shape, conductivity, and permeability. Using large databases of threats, including firearms, metallic IEDs, and other threats, as well as databases of benign objects such as keys, cell phones, belts, shoes, coins, tablets, and laptops, the classifier is trained to distinguish between the two classes via machine learning techniques. Most common exposures to low-frequency radio waves, also known as non-ionizing radiation, are not considered hazardous to you or an unborn baby. For example, computer screens and cell phones use non-ionizing radiation at exposure levels that are considered safe. A manual screening alternative is recommended for anyone who has safety concerns or feels uncomfortable about walking screening. So I just need a board discussion and direction on, we have parents that have asked for this technology. We have had parents that have said they don't want our school to go towards this. I will say that after the TikTok threat incident last fall, I had a large number of parents email me asking for some sort of daily screening system. We discussed it briefly at that time, and you asked me to do some research and come back with an option, and this seems to be the best option in terms of least invasive to students. You ultimately want me to move forward with looking into this and purchasing it or trying it, and at which building or both buildings. Like I said, we could go down to one entrance here at the middle school. We could keep it at 2. The elementary school, you would need a minimum of 2. I will say that in my meetings with the local police departments over the last few months, they are interested in us going down to 1 point of entry or no more than 2 points of entry at the elementary school for security reasons.
Does the company offer like a trial period?
Not that I'm aware of.
Or if they don't offer a trial period, could they join a Zoom meeting with us and show us their product prior to just making a decision on it? Either way, whether it's yes or no.
Yeah, absolutely. They offered that. I said that at that time that let me do this presentation tonight and then we could have them.
Do they provide training
for our staff?
Yes,
They do.
yes.
Okay.
Speaking of staff, would we need to hire, or would we consider EB2?
So I don't believe we would. We already have the police officer and our guards. So we already have someone that would be able to do that and observe that and be trained. And then we already have people that stand at the entrances anyway. So it'd just be there.
And it would require a contract, I saw it, like a software updates. They would keep training, like that part would be contracted, when we keep training up to date, so our staff is up to date with all the news. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm trying to, like, maybe it can get to a one for more.
Okay, absolutely. I will schedule that for September.
Thank you.
Unless you want me to schedule it sooner. We do have a board meeting next week and I'm happy to have them.
Sooner the better.
The better.
Do you know how many schools that have?
So what's interesting is, I had talked originally to Newburgh and Middletown because they have the older version where they really just sit and go through and it's a whole process and takes a long time every single day. And then I found this one in my research and then someone from Warwick called me and they said, what's the one, I know you're doing research too, what did you land on? And I said, well, I've looked at this one, I've talked to the guy, and the assistant superintendent, James Yap, he laughed and he says, that's actually the one that I have kind of settled onto in all of my research. So it was interesting. So they are very serious about doing this program as well, minimum, I know. And I do know that other districts are looking at this in general. All right, so I will get that for a presentation. So at the elementary school, it would be eliminating the kiss and go. So there would be the parent drop off at the front.
Matter of fact, on schools, I don't want to wait until something happens. I want to be on the proactive side. We're looking at opportunities to do what we need to do to correct our problems and ensure that we have a safer student environment. And give them all kids that opportunity to move quicker than we could have if we didn't wait for our opportunities.
Our school has about 1,100 students enrolled. We have approximately 150 who are virtual students. So roughly 900 kids come through the door every day to find out that we're getting a two-lane system here at Edgehill High School to accommodate my students as a grant. I was humbled and excited and nervous because I want to make sure that everything we do here is for our students and for our staff and for the safety of our community.
We actually put the system into place at one of our schools, and we ended up actually running the kids through the environment. And then after we done the initial test with the kids, we took various objects through the system to also test whether we could set it off with what it is designed to test. It worked flawlessly.
The training of our staff went pretty fast. We got here early in the morning for the teachers, let them play with the system, get used to it, feel comfortable, start scanning that morning. It was real seamless.
The system is easy to use. Once you have gone through it, you have a really good understanding of the flow of what happened, what you're looking for, what happens, what do you need to do when something is alerted. Our first day here went.
So it goes on. The whole thing. But I'll have the gentleman from the company speaking next week and have some pictures. And
I heard her mention grant. Program.
when I did speak to them about that, he did not think we would qualify based on our needs. I can ask again. Particularly if we're going to be, the first or one of the first in New York to have it and are willing to have other districts come learn, that might be an incentive for them to, if not do a grant or do a reduced price or something. So.
For the school district, that sounds like that.
Referral fee. Okay. And that's it for me.
Thank you very much. All right, moving along. Authorize execution and delivery of joint intermunicipal agreement with Orange Also, a motion to authorize the execution of delivery of joint intermunicipal agreement for Orange Ulster BOCES capital project as presented. Motion, please. Motion, please. John, second.
Can we finish the committee stuff?
Yeah. I'll do that. Mike? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Privilege of the floor.
Lisa?
No.
I don't know if I can shut the projector off.
Ted, no privilege of the floor? Yes. Moving on. Enter into intermunicipal joint agreement with OU BOCES. A motion to enter intermunicipal joint agreement with OU BOCES for capital project presented at this meeting. Motion, please. Aaron, second. Mike, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Financial reports and warrants. A motion to approve the July 31st, 2022 financial warrants and municipal warrants as presented. Motion, please. Dave, second. Mike, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Accept revised correction action plan, report of examination. A motion to accept the revised correction action plan as presented. Motion, please. Aaron, second. John, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah, just to explain the correction action plan, that was from the state comptroller's audit, from July to 29th. And that was, they did an audit, on accounts payable. It was basically something we gave them, so we just needed to, make a corrective action plan with that. So the person, Ann did, she looked everything together, it was normal practice, but they changed it. She had to redo it, but it was approved, so.
No details, no specific details changed. They added the dates of completion and they separated each, so putting all three, and then said, we corrected all three of these things by doing this. You added a list, they issued, we corrected the list.
Yeah, so they basically just needed the dates, that's what they wanted.
And that went through the, and did meet with the audit committee to discuss.
Yes, it was presented.
Execute intermunicipal agreement, Village of Greenman Lake and School District. A motion to execute an intermunicipal agreement between the district and the Village of Greenman Lake as presented. Aaron, second. John, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
The employee is very appreciative. Folks that other employees also.
Approve tuition rates. A motion to approve the non-resident tuition rates as presented. Motion, please. Mike, second. Dave, any discussion? We're in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Create 0.5 FTE ENL position. A motion to create a 0.5 English as a new language position as presented. Motion, please. Mike? Second. Aaron? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Approve additional environmental monitor, ES Capital Project 002-015. A motion to approve the additional environmental monitor for the ES Capital Project at 002-015 as presented, please. Motion. Mike, second. John? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Smart-bound district doors and hardware replacement change order. A motion to approve the change order for the Smart-bound district door and hardware replacement as presented. Motion, please.
Dave, second. Mike, any discussion?
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 6-0. Award security services, Rigor Security. A motion to award Rigor Security Services a request for proposal for security services as presented. Motion, please.
Mike, second. John, any discussion? All in favor?
Opposed? Motion carries. 6-0. Approve OU BOCE service proposal, shared lunch management. A motion to approve the OU BOCE service proposal for temporary shared school lunch manager as presented. Motion, please.
Mike, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Opposed? Motion carries. 6-0. Approve school position agreement. Kanya Pediatric Group. A motion to approve the school position agreement with Kanya Pediatrics and as presented. Motion, please.
John, second. Dave, any discussion? All in favor?
Opposed? Motion carries. 6-0. Approve health services contract Tuxedo Park School. A motion to approve the health services contract with Tuxedo Union School District as presented. Motion, please.
Aaron, second. Mike, any discussion? All in favor?
Opposed? Motion carries. 6-0. Approve private school transportation request. A motion to approve the private school transportation request for the 2022-2023 school year as presented. Motion, please.
John, second. Mike, any discussion? All in favor?
Motion carries. 6-0. Accept resignation of Lynn. A motion to accept with regret the resignation of Adelina Lynn as presented. Motion, please.
Mike,
Second, Aaron. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 6-0. Accept resignation Warren. A motion to accept the resignation of Lisa Warren as presented, please. Motion, please.
Dave, second. Mike, any discussion?
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 6-0. Accept resignation Patterson. A motion to accept the resignation of Caroline Patterson as presented, please. Motion, please.
Mike,
Second, John.
any discussion?
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 6-0. Approve agreement in lieu of appointment to probation, Arietta. A motion to approve an agreement in lieu of appointment to probation with Erica Arietta as presented, please. Motion, please.
Mike, second.
Aaron?
Any discussion?
All in favor?
Opposed?
Motion carries. 6-0. Appoints probation interdisciplinary tenure areas Bianco. A motion to appoint Christina Bianco to a .5 FTE probation position of English as a second language teacher as presented. Motion, please.
John, second. Mike,
Any discussion?
all in favor?
Opposed? Motion carries. 6-0. Appoint lead replacement teacher Carter. A motion to appoint Rebecca Carter as elementary lead replacement teacher as presented. Motion, please.
Aaron,
Second, John.
any discussion?
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 6-0. Appoint DNL lead replacement teacher Phillips. A motion to appoint DNL lead replacement teacher Irina Phillips as presented, please. Motion.
Aaron, second. Mike, any discussion?
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 6-0. Approve consultant agreement McSweeney. A motion to approve the HR consultant agreement with Terry McSweeney as presented, please. Motion, please.
John, second. Dave, any discussion? All in favor?
Opposed? Motion carries. 6-0. Appoint bus driver Guzman. A motion to appoint Josephine Guzman as school bus driver as presented. Motion, please.
Aaron, second. John,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Appoint substitute bus monitor. What is that? Kawanta. A motion to appoint Lori Kawanta as substitute bus monitor as presented. Motion, please. John, second, Mike. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Appoint advisors and club advisors. A motion to appoint the following staff members and advisors and club advisors as presented. Motion, please. Aaron, second, Mike. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Appoint curriculum leaders. A motion to appoint staff members as curriculum leaders as presented. Motion, please. Aaron, second, Mike. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Appoint fall and winter sports coaches. A motion to appoint the following fall and winter sports coaches as presented. Motion, Aaron. Second, John. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Appoint retirees substitutes. A motion to appoint the following retirees as substitutes as presented. Motion, please. Mike. Second, Aaron. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Accept recommendations from CSE and CPSE meetings. A motion to accept the recommendations for CPSE and CSE as presented. Motion, please. Mike, second, Aaron. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Enter into executive session upon approval of the motion. A motion to adjourn to executive session for the reasons of negotiations conducted pursuant to the Taylor law involving the GLA and the employment history of a particular person or persons. Motion, please. Mike, second. Dave, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, everyone.